My family's prank humiliated my girlfriend and me on Christmas. Now their gifts are at a children's hospital, and I'm finally free. I'm a 32-year-old guy who always took pride in being the responsible one in the family. The one who left our small town, landed a great job in the big city, and returned every Christmas with arms full of presents and pockets lined with cash. This year was supposed to be no different. In fact, I was determined to make it even more special. Little did I know I was walking into a nightmare that would shatter my rose-colored view of family and force me to face some harsh truths about the people I thought I knew best. It all started innocently enough. I had been dating my girlfriend for about a year, and I was beyond excited to finally introduce her to my family. She had heard all my stories about our noisy holiday celebrations, how my mom's eyes lit up when we sang Christmas carols completely out of tune, my dad's terrible jokes that somehow became funny after a few drinks, and the sheer joy on my nieces' and nephews' faces as they ripped open their presents. I had painted the picture of a perfect holiday gathering, and she was thrilled to finally be part of it. When we arrived at my parents' house, with its warmly glowing windows against the snowy backdrop, I felt an immense sense of pride. "Ready to meet the crew?" I asked, squeezing her hand. She nodded, a mix of excitement and nervousness playing across her face. "As ready as I'll ever be. Are you sure they'll like me?" I laughed and kissed her cheek. "They're going to love you. Trust me, by the end of the night, they'll probably like you more than they like me." If only I had known how true those words would turn out to be. At first, everything seemed perfect. My mom pulled my girlfriend into a warm hug, gushing over how beautiful she was. My dad cracked his classic "welcome to the madhouse" joke. My siblings and their partners greeted us warmly, while the kids darted around excitedly, eyeing the pile of gifts we brought. As we settled in, I noticed a few odd glances and whispered conversations that stopped abruptly when I approached. But I brushed it off, too happy to be home and showing off my amazing girlfriend. Dinner was lively, filled with catching up and light teasing. My girlfriend charmed everyone with her quick wit and genuine interest in their stories. I couldn't have been prouder, thinking how perfectly she fit into my family's dynamic. But after the meal, as we gathered in the living room for the gift exchange, things started to get strange. Before we start opening presents, my older sister announced with an odd sparkle in her eye, "We thought it'd be fun to play a little game." I should have sensed something was off from the way the adults exchanged knowing looks while the kids buzzed with barely contained excitement. But I was caught up in the holiday spirit, maybe with one glass of wine too many. Sure, why not? I agreed easily. "What kind of game?" My brother-in-law appeared with a small box, grinning widely. "It's a trust exercise," he explained. "You and your lovely girlfriend will be blindfolded, and we'll guide you through a few simple tasks. It's all about building connection and having a laugh." Looking back, I can't believe how naive I was. But in that moment, surrounded by the people I trusted most, I didn't think to question it. "Sounds fun, right?" I turned to my girlfriend, who hesitated but nodded. "I guess so," she said, clearly uneasy but not wanting to seem like a bad sport. As they tied the blindfolds around our eyes, I heard muffled giggles and whispers. My stomach tightened slightly, but I ignored it. This was my family, after all. What could go wrong? The game started innocently enough. They had us touch objects and guess what they were. But things soon got weird. I was made to stick my hand into something cold and slimy, while my girlfriend bit into what she thought was an apple, but turned out to be an onion. I began to protest, but they insisted it was all in good fun. "Oh, come on, don't be such a spoil sport," my younger brother teased. "It's just a harmless prank." But it didn't stop there. They made us spin in circles until we were dizzy, then tried to make us walk straight lines. They soaked us with water balloons, claiming it was snow we had to dodge. At one point, I distinctly heard the buzz of a razor near my head, followed by a gasp from my girlfriend. Finally, I'd had enough. I ripped off my blindfold, ready to demand an explanation, and froze in horror at the sight before me. My girlfriend stood there, her mascara streaked from the water balloons, with a chunk of her beautiful hair hacked off unevenly. I reached up to touch my own head and felt patches where they'd shaved spots. But what shocked me more than our appearances was the look on my family's faces. They were laughing. Not the lighthearted laughter of a silly joke, but cruel, mocking laughter that sent chills down my spine. "What the hell is wrong with you people?" I shouted, rushing to comfort my girlfriend, who was visibly shaken. My mom, wiping tears of laughter from her eyes, had the audacity to say, "Oh, sweetheart, it was just a little fun. Don't take it so seriously." "Fun?" I stammered, unable to believe her. "You call humiliating us fun?" My dad chimed in dismissively. "Come on, son. It's just a prank. We do this to all the newcomers. It's tradition." I looked around, hoping to find at least one sympathetic face. Instead, I saw smirks and eye rolls. Even the kids thought it was hilarious. That's when it hit me. This wasn't an isolated moment of cruelty. This was who they were, who they had always been, and I had been too blind to see it. The next day, I donated all the gifts I'd brought to a children's hospital. The next day, I woke up feeling empty, a mix of anger and sadness burning deep in my chest. My girlfriend was still lying next to me, asleep, but her face was swollen from all the crying. The night before, after we left my parents' house, she barely spoke a word. She just sat silently in the car, staring out the window as tears streamed down her face. I had no idea what to say to ease her pain, or mine. I got up quietly, trying not to wake her, and went to the hotel kitchen. I made a strong cup of coffee and sat at the table, staring at the pile of gift bags I had brought for my family. Each box, each neatly wrapped package, represented the time, money, and thought I had poured into people who just the night before had shown me exactly how little I truly meant to them. With every sip of coffee, my anger grew. I replayed their laughter in my head, their pathetic excuses about tradition, and the shattered look on my girlfriend's face as she clutched the uneven chunks of her cut hair. I couldn't let this go. I couldn't let this be written off as just a joke. They had humiliated the woman I loved and made me feel like a complete fool for believing, for years, that my presence in that house mattered. While she still slept, I made a decision. I grabbed my phone and started searching for the address of a nearby children's hospital. There was no way I was letting those gifts go to the people who had done this to us. Those presents wouldn't sit under their tree, wouldn't be opened with fake smiles and hollow thank yous. They would go to kids who truly deserve something special this Christmas, not to people who turned the holiday into a spectacle of cruelty. I loaded the bags into the car silently and drove to the hospital. The nurse at the reception desk looked surprised when I explained that I wanted to donate all those gifts, but her warm, sincere smile gave me a small sense of relief. As I walked out, I felt like I had taken the first step toward freeing myself from that toxic family. When I got back to the hotel, my girlfriend was awake. I told her what I had done, and she just nodded, as though she knew I needed to do it. But even so, there was a distance in her eyes that worried me. I knew that experience had left a scar between us, one I wasn't sure I could heal. I decided I needed to confront my family, not for them, but for me. I picked up the phone and called my mother. She answered in an upbeat tone, likely assuming I had gotten over everything and was ready to move on from the night before. "Don't you feel ashamed about what you did?" I asked, cutting off any attempt at small talk. "What are you talking about, sweetheart? It was just a little joke. You're blowing this out of proportion." "A joke?" My voice was louder than I expected. "You humiliated my girlfriend, cut her hair, shaved patches of mine, and laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. You call that a tradition?" She sighed, as if I were being unreasonable. "Oh, honey, you're taking this way too seriously." Everyone laughed. It was a fun night. Fun for who? For you? Because for us, it was a nightmare. My anger was boiling over now, and I could barely control the words spilling out. I've spent years trying to be the perfect son, bringing gifts, supporting all of you. And this is how you repay me? "Look," she said coldly, "if you can't take a little joke, maybe you need to learn to lighten up." The coldness in her voice hit me like a slap. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back, but I wasn't done. I called my sister, the mastermind behind that joke. When she answered, her voice was dripping with fake sympathy. "Oh, hey bro, are you still upset about last night? It was just a little fun. Don't be like this." "Fun? You destroyed my girlfriend's hair, and I had to watch you all laugh at her while she tried not to cry. What is wrong with you?" She chuckled, as though I were the one being unreasonable. "Oh, come on. Everyone goes through it. It's tradition, remember? When our other sister's husband joined the family, we did the same thing to him. He laughed it off and got over it. Maybe he laughed because he knew he didn't have a choice. I snapped. I do. And my choice is to never let any of you treat me or the people I love like that again. I hung up and, for the first time in years, felt like I had taken control of my life. I wasn't going back to that house. Not this Christmas. Not ever again. My family had made their choice when they treated me as the target of their cruel jokes, and now I was making mine. I chose my girlfriend. I chose respect. I chose freedom. That night, as we sat quietly in the hotel room having dinner, she finally smiled for the first time since the incident. And at that moment, I knew I was truly free from the weight of trying to please people who never really cared about me. After that disastrous Christmas, my decision was made. My girlfriend and I would no longer subject ourselves to my family's toxic dynamics. After confronting my mom and sister, it became clear that they would never admit they'd done anything wrong. For them, it was easier to label me as too sensitive than to acknowledge that their behavior had crossed every possible line. At first, it hurt deeply. I had always been the kind of person who tried to keep the peace, who believed in the value of family above all else. But with the woman I love by my side, I realized that real family consists of those who respect and support you, not those who hurt you and laugh at your pain. The following weeks were tough. My mom called me a few times, always with that condescending tone, insisting that I was overreacting. "Are you really going to let one silly Christmas ruin our family?" she would say, as if the responsibility was mine. I refused to engage. My sister, on the other hand, went even further. She started spreading rumors among relatives and mutual acquaintances, claiming that I was ungrateful, that I thought I was better than everyone because I had left the small town and built a different life. Apparently, she also said that my girlfriend had manipulated me and pulled me away from the family, that she was too sensitive to understand the family's sense of humor. Hearing these things through cousins or mutual friends hurt, but deep down, I knew it was just their way of deflecting from their own guilt. My girlfriend and I talked a lot about it. She, with a maturity that inspired me, said something that stuck with me. "They only have power over you if you let them. We can't control what they say, but we can control how we live our lives." With that in mind, we decided we wouldn't waste another ounce of energy on their negativity. If they wanted to talk about us, so be it. We were moving forward, and that's exactly what we did. We decided to focus on our relationship and the things that truly made us happy. At the start of the year, we planned our first big trip together. We chose Europe, a dream we had both shared for years. We spent weeks researching itineraries, booking accommodations, and daydreaming about the places we would visit. When we finally boarded the plane, it felt like we were leaving all the weight of those bad memories behind. We visited Paris, where we strolled hand in hand down the Champs-Élysées and had picnics with wine and cheese by the Seine. We explored the ruins of Rome, took silly pictures pretending to hold up the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and wandered the charming streets of Lisbon. Every moment was a reaffirmation that we had made the right choice. Every laugh we shared was a victory over the toxicity we had left behind. Meanwhile, the news about my family continued to trickle in. My aunts and uncles, who once treated me as the golden child who returned to the small town with gifts and glamorous stories, now referred to me as ungrateful. I learned that my mom had told several relatives that I had abandoned them, that I was too good for my roots. My sister, in particular, seemed obsessed with talking about us. Mutual friends told us she mentioned our names in almost every conversation, always with a tone of bitterness. "They think they're better than everyone because they travel and live a life of luxury," she would say. But the truth is, no one can stand them. The irony was that while she and my family were drowning in resentment, our lives were flourishing. We returned from Europe with plans to explore other destinations. We decided that traveling would be a priority for us, a way to celebrate our freedom and love. We visited beaches in the Caribbean, hiked in the Andes, and even spent a weekend in a secluded cabin in the woods. Each destination was a reminder that life could be extraordinary when you surrounded yourself with people who truly cared about you. My career also took off. I earned a promotion that allowed us to buy our dream apartment with a stunning view of the city. My girlfriend, who had always dreamed of starting her own business, finally made it happen. She opened a design store that quickly became a success. And as we celebrated our accomplishments, my family remained stuck in the same cycle of bad-mouthing us, bitter about what they had lost. The breaking point came when a distant cousin visited us. After spending some time with us, he confessed, before I came here, I thought you two were snobs because of all the things I heard from them. But now that I see how you live, it's clear they're just jealous. You're happy, and that's something they can't handle." He was right. There was nothing we could do to change how they felt or what they said. But the truth was we didn't need to. Our happiness spoke for itself. Today, when I think about my family, I don't feel anger anymore, just pity. They could have chosen to be part of our lives, to share in our joy and success. Instead, they chose to feed their resentment and lies. And while they remain stuck in that cycle, we continue to build a life full of love, respect, and adventure. With every new trip, with every step we take together, it becomes clearer that leaving them behind was the best decision we ever made.